Okay, it's 5:30, so we will call our meeting to order and start with a roll call by our city clerk, Kathy Valdez.
The record shall reflect that all members are present with the exception of Councilmember Green.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Melendez, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand and put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. The public is reminded that the Vista Municipal Code requires members of the public to observe order and decorum at the meeting, to conduct themselves in a courteous manner. This ordinance was adopted to allow for public input and facilitate city business without disruption of the meeting. To speak on an item on today's agenda, please fill out a speaker slip and give it to the city clerk staff. At a special meeting, no opportunity is provided to speak on matters not listed on the agenda. Speaker slips are available on the table just outside the council chambers. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address the council. We have one consent item this evening. City Clerk Valdez will introduce the item.
Thank you, Mayor. In accordance with the Vista Municipal Code Section 2.12.240.d, the ordinance is being presented to the City Council for a second reading and adoption since it did not receive the required 4/5 vote for immediate adoption. No amendments have been made to the ordinance since its introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. And this item's been pulled from the consent agenda by the public. We have 4 speakers, beginning with Joe Hood, followed by Justin Donsillo.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. As I said a couple of nights ago, this is Code Red for Humanity time. I heard multiple comments after the public comments about only 3% of us use public transit. Well, you know, there's a whole chicken and egg thing about that. If you don't have much public transit and it doesn't go where you want to go, guess what? People aren't going to take it. It's impractical to not have a car for most of us because of our geography, but we need more public transit. More freeway lanes don't work. As soon as you have a freeway lane added, it gets jammed. And it encourages the burning of more fossil fuels. Wrong. There's not enough material, physical resources on the planet for everybody to have a standalone car. It's crazy. We must have less driving, fewer greenhouse gas emissions, and more public transit. It's urgent that we expand our public transit. I want to thank you, changing subjects a little, for voting the other night to support democracy and democratic rule. I urge you to do it again tonight. Please have majority rule vote. Also, I would urge you to select either Councilmember Melendez or O'Donnell as the representative to Sandag, and I would ask you to direct them to support public transit. Key as we go forward. We need more of that. We need less, by far, fossil fuel emissions that are destroying our planet. Thanks.
Thank you. Justin Donsillo, followed by Lisa Wellens.
Good evening, Council. I just want to speak in favor of the motion. I believe that the Democratic majority, there are 20,000 Democrats registered in the city of Vista versus 14,000 Republicans. And I believe that the Democratic majority in our city elected a Democratic majority city council to reflect democratic values, which means the majority rules, not the minority. At the last meeting, there were some very strong sentiments about the majority protecting the minority and vice versa. But here in democracy, we believe that it should be proportional and weighted, you might say. And so because of this, I believe very strongly that Councilmember Melendez is the most appropriate person for Sandag. We are facing real environmental crises, and we need somebody that has facts, statistics, calm, quiet, and collected demeanors so they can work across the aisle and across the county to provide real working solutions for San Diegans, regardless of what city or area you're at. We cannot have a representative without the logic, calm, poise, eloquence, and elegance of Councilmember Melendez. She is, quite frankly, the most well-suited person for the job, and we are very lucky as a city to have a civil servant that understands what it means to lead with respect, dignity, and kindness at all points. Not once have I seen Councilmember Melendez raise her voice or antagonize members of her council. And in fact, I've seen her openly try to cooperate and educate her fellow council members. There can be no greater hallmark of a leader than somebody that uses facts, data, statistics, and citations to back up their claims, especially on the public dais. And I have not seen other members of the council demonstrate it to that skill. And so I am deeply and immeasurably impressed by the leadership that Councilmember Melendez has demonstrated. And it would be a great miscarriage of justice to deny the Democratic majority will of the city of Vista when we have elected a champion to represent us at a crucial time. We have no other option, no alternative to justice than to allow the majority to rule. The minority must never be allowed to be a tyrant that suffers and silences the voices of those that they disagree with, or that peddles misinformation or fake news. And so it is tantamount that going forward, we elect people who speak the truth, are honest, and cite what they're saying. And that's Councilmember Melendez. Thank you.
Lisa Wellens, followed by Gary Gerritsen.
Good evening, council members. My name's Lisa. I live here in Vista, and I just want to take a moment because it's taken a long time to get here. I wasn't able to attend on Tuesday, but I think that's probably for the best. It was a long night, so I'll take my time today. So I'm happy to be here to support this ordinance. Unlike a lot of people, I've been actually following the goings-on Sandag since 2011 and either volunteer for environmental organizations or on behalf of volunteer organizations here in Vista. And I have to say that there have been a lot of good changes. Carol on Tuesday spoke about change, and these are good changes. I'm going to go out in the weeds and come back. But a lot of people know about Sandag, at least in the last couple of years, due to the outrage machine, I call it. So it's really started by people broadcasting inaccurate information to stoke fear and distrust of an agency. And then any attempts to share real facts are rebuffed because the well's been poisoned, and that's tough. It happened with CCA for many years, and but sunlight's the best disinfectant, and that's how it was with CCA. Soon as we had educational opportunities, workshops, and sharing information and getting feedback from the public, it kind of calmed things down, right? Speed bumps. So anyway, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to support this ordinance, and I know Councilmember Melendez would do this anyway, but just I'm looking forward to the workshops and the educational opportunities and the opportunities we have to give feedback. My husband, who's a critical care nurse, actually rode his bike and took the Sprinter to Palomar Hospital for about 10 years. He was hit by a car in a parking lot, and was in a fairly serious near miss on Main Street, and he put his bike away. And so we have high hopes that we can make things safer in Vista and that we'll have more choices. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary Gerritsen.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Acting City Manager. My name is Gary Gerritsen, and I've been a Vista resident in South Vista for 30 years. I rise to oppose the change in the municipal code. The council has expressed strong support for building affordable housing in Vista. If the person sent to represent Vista votes with the present track of Sandag, which basically is San Diego and Chula Vista, we are taking away from the same group. According to Reform California, the mileage tax would increase the expense of driving by an extra 80 cents per gallon, or 20% of what a person is spending, which could be $100 a month for the average person driving to San Diego. It's not just $100 a month. It could be 5 gallons of milk, 5 dozen eggs, 5 loaves of bread, 5 cartons of cereal, and a pair of shoes for the kids. It's not about taxing the person with the Mercedes. It's about taking money away from the average person. I believe the mayor should be appointed. He is the one person here, should be the one making the decision. He is the only member elected by the entire city. It may be 30,000 or 20,000 Democrats and 15,000 Republicans, but they elected him mayor. That's the entire city. Upcoming Sandag decisions will impact every person who drives a vehicle. Mayor Franklin opposes the mileage tax that Sandag has already proposed and delayed until after the election. I am confident an overwhelming majority of Vista voters and car owners oppose it. I would love to have had all of the union members who were here on Tuesday night ask, do you support another $100 a month out of your pocket going to transit for Chula Vista and San Diego? The person must be focused on Vista needs, not public transportation and bike lanes for San Diego and Chula Vista. The Sandag voting equation ignores one vote, one city, one vote, and does a weighted scale to ignore cities like Vista. We must appoint a fierce advocate for Vista voters and vehicle owners, not one with narrow perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor Contreras.
Thank you to the public for your comments, your questions, your concerns, and your hopes. I am really hopeful that in the future we will be able to have a citywide collaborative experience in understanding more about what Sandag does, whether it's from housing to habitat restoration, to fixing our roads, to enhancing different types of public infrastructure like protected bike lanes, sidewalks, better circulation. I really look forward to being able to do that as a city and to continue hearing from everybody in the city what you want to see and what you want to know more about. Is we have an incredible opportunity to really come together and discuss these different issues. And for people who are concerned about different issues at Sandag, bring your concerns. Let's go through them. And let's make sure that we are a fierce advocate for the will of the people. Because I think a lot of folks here in Vista just want to have better connection, whether they're on a road, in a vehicle, whether they're on a road, on a bus, whether they're on a road, on a bike, or whether they're crossing the road by walking. So I really appreciate all the input from every single perspective. It only enhances the way that we communicate with one another in the future. And with that, I want to make a motion that we adopt City Council Ordinance number 2023-3, amending Chapter 2.12 of the Vista Municipal Code regarding appointments to the Sandag Association of Governments. Thank you.
Councilmember Melendez.
Thank you. I would second that motion, but request that we bring this item back in the 30-day time period that is required by us by law. So if city attorney could clarify what our requirements are, I would appreciate that.
So if this ordinance passes tonight, on the 31st day it will become effective. So the Vista Municipal Code will be, the addition will become effective. So on the 31st day, the city council can nominate and appoint a member to Sandag. You have this, the 31st day, I believe, is February 26th. You have a regular meeting on the 28th.
Very good. So it's satisfactory to me to reconvene about this item on the 28th when we have a regular meeting. So I second this item.
Okay, I think all that was to be said was said on Tuesday night, so I'm not going to speak further. I think the community knows how I feel, and of course, I won't be supporting it. Seeing no other comments, we've got a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And that item is approved with 3 in favor, 1 not present, and 1 vote no. We're adjourned.